Have you ever stopped to think about who really benefits while you sacrifice the present in the name of a retirement that may never come? The promise of future freedom has become the new shackle. We have traded the slavery of the past for the sold hope of a postponed rest, always conditioned on years of self-denial. The uncomfortable truth is that the system has perfected its trap. It teaches you to accept decades of exhausting routine and restrained consumption, all to eventually deliver a freedom that is rarely complete. Saving has become a mantra, but is it really a choice? Or just another invisible chain, polished by the rhetoric of responsibility? If you don't want to risk losing your last illusion about the meaning of future, it's better to stop reading now, because anyone who dares to go on will hardly be able to look at retirement the same way again. There's a promise that's repeated like a mantra these days. Start early, save money, invest, plan for retirement. Your old age will depend on it. This phrase sounds rational, even responsible. Maybe you've heard it since childhood, from parents, teachers, well-meaning friends. But behind this apparent wisdom, there is something more dangerous than you might imagine. This narrative, wrapped up in financial advice, motivational talks, and personal finance channels, isn't just guidance. It's a silent prison. A trap built with kind words and numbers neatly arranged on well-made spreadsheets. Perhaps the most dangerous part is that almost everyone believes it, not for lack of intelligence, but for lack of courage to question the very time of their lives. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why? Why does everyone repeat this script without hesitation? Maybe because to challenge it is like swimming against an invisible current, the current of tradition, of fear, of everyone does it this way. Saving for retirement isn't necessarily freedom. It can, in fact, be a new form of modern slavery. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine yourself 20, 30, 40 years from now. What will your life be like? Who will be with you? What will you have done with your time, your energy, your heart? Most people, when thinking about this, see a kind of prize, a trophy waiting at the end of a marathon, a future where everything will make sense, where it will finally be possible to live. But this idea of life as an investment for the future is, in itself, a subtle trap. You wake up early, work exhaustively, cut expenses, avoid luxuries, invest, save, plan, all with the promise that someday, when your hair turns white and your back aches, you will finally be able to truly live. It's like chasing a mirage in the desert. The more you walk, the farther the oasis seems to be. The horizon shifts as you move forward. The result? Years and years sacrificing today for a hypothetical tomorrow. Years postponing meetings, trips, simple pleasures, relationships, adventures, passions. You live with your eyes on the spreadsheet, forgetting that real life doesn't fit into any Excel cell. And then comes the cruel irony. You spend years saving up to live, but live without truly living. It's not planning, it's postponement. It's not prudence, it's fear in disguise. It's not a choice, it's a habit, often inherited from past generations who also lived in fear of tomorrow. And the system is grateful. It works best when you accept this exchange, your life today for a promise of security tomorrow. Let me be clear. The system doesn't exist to set you free. It exists to keep you functioning. This system, invisible but always present, has discovered the perfect formula for its own survival, convincing people that the meaning of life is always in the future. That way, you become a dedicated, obedient worker who consumes little, doesn't question, and, above all, waits. Waits for the day when you can finally be who you are. Phrases like, I need to plan. I can't spend now. I need to save. My old age depends on it. If I fail now, I'll suffer later. They sound reasonable. They even seem wise, inherited from ancestors who faced hard times. But they hide a silent poison. You'll only be worthy of fully living once you stop working. As if real life only begins at 60, 65, or 70 years old, as if everything before that was just practice, never the real game. And so, you live as if you're rehearsing for a play whose opening night never comes. You work as if every day is a race against time, but rarely ask yourself where you're actually running to. Do you know what the real trick is? The system sells you time, but delivers debt. You buy promises, but receive bills. Meanwhile, the present slips through your fingers, and what's left is a collection of "one day I'll do it." See if you recognize this script. Jerome worked for 35 years at the same company. He saved every penny, never traveled, postponed dreams, always said, "When I retire, then I'll really live." When he finally retired, he realized two things. His children no longer lived nearby. His health was no longer the same. And perhaps the most painful, he no longer knew what he wanted to do with his free time. How many Joaos do you know? How many do you see walking slowly in the park in the morning, with distant looks, trying to fill a void that isn't just about time, but about meaning? Now, think about Marta. Marta, on the other hand, decided that each decade would have a new story. She traveled whenever she could. She invested, yes, but she also invested in experiences, in friendships, in causes that made sense to her. By the time she retired, she had already lived so much. She already had stories to tell, friends in many places, things to miss, but never missed herself. These stories are real. You can be either of these characters. The choice, even if it doesn't seem like it, is always available. One of the biggest lies of our time is this: if you save enough, you'll have security in the future. But who defined what enough is? Who guarantees the future will be worth it? And, more importantly, who decided that financial security is the ultimate goal in life? The promise of security is seductive, but also dangerous. It makes us believe that if we just postpone, control, avoid, everything will be fine. But what if tomorrow never comes the way you imagine? What if, when you finally get there, you realize you've lost not just time, but also vitality, joy, and connections? Think about it. How many people do you know who, upon retiring, found themselves alone, tired, and unsure of what to do with their newfound freedom? People who, when they finally received the key to their cell, had already lost the desire to leave it, because life wasn't lived, it was only planned. Pleasure was always postponed. Opportunities were missed, trips were never taken, relationships were neglected, passions were locked away. Dreams were left for an uncertain future. And then comes the final irony. You spent your whole life working to have free time. But now you no longer have the energy to enjoy it. After all, how many of us know elderly people who, after retiring, no longer knew who they were without work? Who had to look for a new purpose, because their old purpose was simply to survive, never to truly live. The culture of postponement teaches us that there will always be more time. But time is not a straight line. It's a road full of curves, detours, and the unexpected. Every day, choices are made. You can choose to try something new, or wait for the perfect moment. You can risk a bit of comfort or cling to what you already know. There's an old saying, when you're young, you have time and health, but no money. When you're an adult, you have money and health, but no time. When you're old, you have time and money, but maybe you no longer have health. Life is made of trade-offs. The question is, are you consciously choosing what to trade, or are you just following a script someone else wrote for you? The word freedom is repeated endlessly, but almost no one really knows what it means. Freedom is not the absence of obligations. Freedom is being able to choose and accepting the consequences of those choices. Very often, in the pursuit of security, we give up freedom without realizing it. We trade uncertainty for the comfort of routine, risk for the shelter of the predictable, a lived life for a planned life. But is it really worth it? How many years of your life have already been invested in something that, deep down, you didn't even want? How many experiences have you put aside, believing the right moment would still come? How many times have you said no to what you loved, just to please a boss, a relative, or an expectation that wasn't even your own? Isn't the fear of the future, in reality, a fear of allowing yourself to live now? Have you ever stopped to think that the best memories rarely come from extreme planning? They are born from the unexpected, from improvisation, from a spontaneous hug, from an invitation accepted at the last minute, from a sunset watched without a schedule. The first step to breaking this cycle is understanding. Life is not a long-term project. It is a daily experience. Freeing yourself from this mindset is not being irresponsible. It's being present. It's investing in what truly matters, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, existentially. It's understanding that the true value of your effort lies in the impact it has on your existence, not just your bank balance. Because freedom doesn't come from saving more. It comes from living with purpose, from choosing where to invest your energy, from deciding every day what the real value of your life is. Maybe, just maybe, true success begins with a single question. What is my own worth? And that answer, my friend, no one else can give for you. But one thing is certain. Don't let the promise of a secure future steal the power of your present. Life is not an Excel script. Life is now.